Well, welcome back again, and we're going to be talking about the Friends of the Library have started, well, it's been going on now for a little bit, their Repair Café. I guess there's these repair cafes all over the country that they're trying to get people to think in terms of fixing rather than tossing, because there used to be fix-it shops. There aren't any fix-it shops anymore, you know, where you'd bring it and they say, here, can you fix this for me? You are the fix-it people.
Yes.
Well, there are fix-it shops all over the world now that are called repair cafes. This is actually an international organization that started 10 years ago. And there are over 1,700 repair cafes.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. Have you ever encountered something that you cannot repair? You're one of the coaches, too.
Yes, I'm a coach.
Mary is the coach. Have you ever encountered something that you just say, there's nothing we can do with this, just toss it?
Yeah, there are. The international success rate is about 75%.
Okay.
Now, there are things that are brought in that sure
There's no parts for anymore.
there's
Right.
no parts, or it's not a
Or it's
reasonably good effort that we can make that's going to bring it back.
Yeah.
But we do have Schenectady Recycles, and they are there on site.
So they'll take away anything that.
They don't take it away, but they give advice, and they do tell people how to responsibly recycle and dispose
Okay.
of anything.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if it's not possible to fix it, they know, where to take it and get it properly donated, recycled, or disposed of, so that it's not plugging up, another.
The landfills, I mean, there's so much, and then of course you're of course listening to, I mean, this has to do with recycling per se, but you're listening about the state budget, and they're talking about doing away with plastic bags, which to me would be a blessing, but also charging for paper bags. So we're looking at situations where, at least from one standpoint, they're trying to figure out how to reduce the amount coming in. And I would say, mostly as far as recycling goes, just don't buy stuff that has a lot of packaging. But getting back to what can we repair?
Yes.
What can we repair? Can I bring up? I have a clock like this, and it has a pendulum, and somehow it's not working. So if I bring that in, which I'm planning to on April the 6th, is that something that you might have an idea of?
We have a good chance that it can be made working again. There's a good chance that it needs to be cleaned and lubricated. Has that been done for it in the recent past?
Cleaned and lubricated. Let's see, have I ever done that to a clock? I would say no.
Well, that's probably what it needs.
Yeah.
That's the first step.
Okay.
That's the first step before you get too radical with it.
Okay. So sometimes the most simple things.
Sometimes it's the most simple operation. We try to start simple and then get into the more complicated things.
Yeah. So we talked about, I mentioned the clock only because that was one of the things that I was looking at. But what else? I think you will help with jewelry.
Jewelry, clothing.
Clothing?
Clothing, repairs. That's what my specialty.
Okay.
Sewing machines, because sometimes people will bring a sewing machine instead of taking it to the fix-it guys. And they bring it to me because I'm familiar with the sewing machine, and frequently it's just showing them how to clean the sewing machine.
How to get that little bits of thread out.
Right.
I got this pair of tweezers. I'm always pulling the thread out.
Right. But yes, so it's almost anything, toys, mechanicals.
Oh, okay. Anything
Yeah,
mechanical.
dolls.
You don't do gasoline engines. I know that.
No, we don't do gasoline engines. That would set off fire alarms, among other things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that would not be something that would make the library happy.
Okay. And there's a limit. You can only bring 2 items.
2 items per household is
Okay.
our limit. That would be a reasonable thing, I believe. There's basically, we don't have extreme limits to what can be done, and a lot of it depends upon the repair coaches that are available for each event, because it's not always going to be the same people that show up. Mary and her husband David who is in the audience watching right
Hey,
now.
Dave.
Hi, Dave. Are two of our steadfast supporters and repair coaches.
Okay. What does Dave specialize in?
Everything.
Everything.
He-
I like
He's
that.
a jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades. And we've got
I'm a tinkerer, so I'm always taking things apart, figuring out how they work and putting them back together. But I'm not doing well with this clock, so.
Okay,
But anyway, the first thing, the pendulums are off, and I don't know how to, so I got little things like that. But anyway, I think the first thing you should do with anything you want to have repaired, make sure that you've cleaned it or done everything basically that you need to do. I remember once my mother called because her washer wasn't working, and she called a repairman. The repairman came, and he went behind and it started working. She said, "What was wrong with it?" She said, "You wasn't plugged in." Apparently when she cleaned, it had unplugged, and she didn't even check that. See, so sometimes you have to check the most basic thing.
Yeah, we
Yes.
have, found things that have been brought in that needed just to replace battery.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, the.
Well, they probably didn't know where the battery was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, the battery is difficult to get to, or something similar. But it's one of the things that if I have time, and I don't usually have a lot of time being the organizer to take care of a lot of complicated things, but one of the things I like to do is sharpen scissors and knives and things,
nice.
which is an easy thing to do and doesn't take long if I have the time to do it.
Yeah.
But scissors are something that
They're hard to, I have scissors
Yeah.
and I can't open them wide enough to sharpen the blades.
yeah, scissors are
So I
something
have to
that
use a grinder or something like that.
it's a knack, but it's something that once you learn how to do it, and I learned how to do it because my grandmother was always sewing something, and once I learned how to sharpen her scissors, I had a permanent calling.
That was your job, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And you usually will not cut yourself with a sharp knife.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they say. Make sure your knives are sharp, because if it's the dull knives that cause
Yes.
you to slip and cut yourself. So you got to be really
Absolutely.
careful with that. You mentioned toys. You mentioned fabrics. You mentioned jewelry. What about appliances? I mean, is that something
Small appliances are very
like a
popular.
toaster that's not working?
Toaster, a toaster oven, those are popular. Vacuum cleaners, those are popular. Lamps, we
Lamps.
spend a lot of time fixing lamps.
Is it usually they just need a new cord or what?
Cords are possible. A lot of times it's the lamp socket.
Okay.
Those get worn out.
Oh, so you just replace the socket.
We replace the socket or clean them and polish the contacts. Or
I usually triple-aught steel or sandpaper sometimes
Yeah.
to get some of those contacts cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah. A burnishing tool of some sort is a
Yeah.
better.
It probably is because you don't get the sand in there.
No, it isn't the sand as much as it is taking away some of the contact surface,
Oh, okay.
because they're not real thick metal, and sandpaper takes away more metal than you've really got to work
Oh,
with.
okay. Well, thank you. I'll be careful now.
Be careful. Use a really fine sandpaper if
Yeah,
you
I
have
do.
to.
It's about as fine as you can get. Yeah.
Okay, but a burnishing tool is
better.
even better.
Yeah. See, I mean, this is the stuff you learn. So they can bring up to 2 items.
Right?
Yes.
How early should they be there? 10 o'clock it starts.
10 o'clock
10
is the time we open.
And when does the line start?
The line starts usually
At 10?
before then.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we have a check-in procedure where they are required to check in, and then they fill out a
Okay.
form
formal, yeah.
that basically
And it keeps you a record of what you've done. too.
right. Yeah, and we ask them to give us any information about their item that they might know. The history of what has been done before sometimes is very
You got
useful.
a starting point, yeah.
Yeah.
That gives us a good bit of information to triage the issue that's currently happening with it. I mean, if it's been fixed 4 times before, and
Chances are the 5th time they'll fix it, but you'll be back for the 6th.
possibly, Possibly.
Yeah.
And, if somebody has got a small appliance and they have a manual or any kind of paperwork,
Bring the manual with you.
Bring the
Yes.
manual. It helps.
So here's a way to keep things out of the landfill. Make sure that we have keep our landfills clean and keep using those items. What is it? Reuse. You reuse it. Keep it going.
Reduce,
Reduce.
recycle.
Yeah,
Reuse, recycle,
So-
upcycle, and bicycles are also something that
It's getting
we
to bicycle season, yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and we are having a good time in partnership with the Electric City Bike
Yeah,
Rescue
they're
folks.
wonderful. The bike repair. Yeah.
And
good.
we have a member of our group who is a member of the Electric City Bike Rescue who will be there.
Okay, great.
So if we have a bicycle repair that we're not able to take care of, and we are not equipped as well as they are.
Right, so they're all set. But if you want to get something fixed, check it out. They have actually 3 dates, but we're talking about the one on April the 6th. So there's another one, I believe, in August and in September, I believe, September.
Yeah, and to
14th
us,
or
it's not
something like that.
it's not the fixing of stuff as much as it is the personal connections
Yeah,
that we make.
and not
Yes.
only get people think about fixing things rather than dumping them. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you both for
Thank you.
being here. It's been a pleasure to meet
Yes.
you, Mary, and
Thank you.
Dave. You've been on the show before. We're going to take, and Dave, hey, stay out there. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about Alpha-1. What is Alpha-1? It's a rare condition, and we're going to talk about it and why you might want to be tested. Stay tuned.